Okay, well, now listen, this is being recorded, okay?
Yes.
And then, or do you want to no, you can't record it.
No, listen, I'm lucky I can answer your questions.
But this is your interview, not mine.
No, no, this is yours, not mine.
You sent me a request. What? You sent me a request that you wanted to do another uh, talk with me, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now we're
This is
talking.
this is two seniors.
Well, okay, I'm recording all this, so this is going to be funny. You know the old story about this lady. Two ladies are driving down in Miami, in Miami Beach, and they go through a red light. Then she goes through a second red light, and she goes to a third red light. And the passenger says, Sarah, you realize you just went to three red lights? And she says, what? I'm driving?
Good.
That's like us now. What? I'm
That's
doing
right.
the
That's
interview?
you mean it's your show?
It's
It's
yours.
not
I thought
my show?
I thought this was your show. So what are we gonna
No,
do? This is my show.
this is your show. So please be kind.
Okay, so why are we here?
Aha. Oh,
Okay. First of all,
second book.
yeah. Okay. All
Yes.
right. This is the second edition, right? This is
Yes,
the
it's
sequel. The sequel.
the sequel. Yeah, my first book, part two.
Right. So you want me to promote this, right?
Well,
That's why I'm
yes.
here. I
And
thought we were going to promote me on your show.
that's enough. We can do that. We'll do that another time. We will, seriously.
Okay, no, I'll send you this and you can broadcast the
Tell me,
same thing
yeah,
on your show.
yeah. Well, what
Good.
we'll do is, no, I have a totally different show, but that's okay. We'll do a different show. I have a show called Tales from Hollywoodland
Oh,
with two other producers, and we'll put you on that show in a couple of weeks.
okay. Again, the twee alte kakas are talking to each other and nobody knows what the hell we're talking about,
And
right?
and you were driving?
Okay, so three alte kakas are sitting in Miami Beach on the boardwalk and they're watching the girls go by. And a beautiful girl goes by, and one of them is 85 years old. He said, "Oh, boys, you gotta take a look at my cake. This would be wonderful. I would, if I would give her a kvetch, she would go crazy." The next one is 90 years old. He said, I would give her a kvetch and I would give her a kiss and she would go crazy. And the guy next is 95. He says, "Oh, come on, look at these two chicks. He would give her a kiss and a kvetch. I would give her a kiss and a kvetch. And I would, boys, what else did we used to do? That's,
Yeah.
we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Okay.
No,
So,
no, but we're on the cusp.
yes, yeah. Look, as long as you get up in the morning and you know who you are, you continue, right?
The fact, yeah, especially if you get up in the morning.
Well, there's another one, Moshe, he's 100 years old. He says, doctor, I pish. I'm so regular. I pish like a clock. Every morning at 8 o'clock, I pish like a clock. The problem is I don't get up till 10.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that was
So
the only.
now that we've gotten all those, so
Well,
tell
the other one. Wait, wait, wait. The other
okay, there's
one.
another one,
Guy
yeah.
has an old guy goes to a doctor. He has a new doctor, and the doctor says, "Look, I need a urine sample. I need a stool sample. I need a semen sample." So he took off his underwear.
I heard it that his wife said, Moshe, take off your shorts.
Yeah, same thing. Same thing.
By the way, just so you'll know, what I'm wearing now, as we are taping this, with all joking aside, this is to remember, and we still have, as we speak, over 100 hostages that are being held in monstrous and devilish and horrible conditions that we can't even begin to imagine in Gaza. So we are speaking today is the 5th of September, and unfortunately, still, we are going through the most horrible time, one of the most difficult times in Israel and in Jewish history. And so I hope once when people see this, God willing, maybe it'll all be over. But until it is, this is what I wear, and it's to remember and just to bring them home. So
But and what's
on
so
a serious note,
and yeah, and what's so amazing is what's going on some universities.
yeah.
That's the worst part. Not the worst part, but that is a terrible part because I just that I don't understand. I
Well,
just
no,
don't.
it's not understandable that uh, university students that supposedly are going for education and they are walking around uh, and uh, and and uh, and claiming that they are for two terrorist organizations that are legally and officially in the United States recognized as terrorist organizations, Hamas and Hezbollah, and they are promoting these two organizations. It's just unbelievable. It's illegal even, but it's hard to understand. We're living in a difficult time, and all I can say is
No,
we have to pray that some people will finally come to their senses and let us live. It's the old virus of anti-Semitism that's been around for thousands of years, and it's just it's like a new corona. I call it a new COVID. It's
yes,
it's the
yeah,
Jewish COVID, the
it's
anti-Semitism that every once in a while this virus pops its head up, but it's
yeah,
always there.
because it's
It's always
always
there
it's
under the
always
surface.
there,
It's always there.
always there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. But
Well, just to tell you that I am so thrilled of the first edition of the book, which was fantastic. And now you, what is the sequel? Is it more of the same, or
yeah,
are there new
it's
stories?
they're brand new stories, but it's written in the same way. Mike, it's such a funny thing. As you know, I'm not an author. That's not what I pretend to be. I'm not even trying to be. I just like writing these anecdotes and stories. And I was so pleased that I got these wonderful reviews. Okay. But it's a backhanded compliment when every review had one thing in common. What we like about this book is that the chapters are so short. Not my style, not my content. Short chapters, we like it.
What does that tell you?
It tells me it's my last book.
No,
If enough people, Mike, if enough people tell you you're drunk, at least sit down.
go to
Yeah,
sleep. Yeah, right. My father used to say. But
yeah.
look, it to me, it simply means that you don't have to go on and on and on to send your message.
Well, that's right.
We always say less is more in our
That's right.
business. It's in
That's
the
right.
it's in the little details. It's not
Yes.
going on and on forever.
No.
You can tell the same story in just a few words. You don't have to go on for pages and pages. And
How many times you and I have sat at dinners and the speaker and you want to kill yourself? You just can't believe that he doesn't understand he's lost the audience. And why are they going on? What is it compels them to bore the hell out of you? I'm just not sure.
you
I don't
know,
know. But
it's all about the old story timing.
right, that's
It's
right. I
all
love
about
that
time.
joke.
You know that joke, yeah? Okay.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's true. But I'm glad that I did it because it for people like yourself who when I went on and talked about the first book, questions would come up and I realized at the end, oh my God, I never told the story about Charlton Heston or Rex Harrison or Bob Hope or how could I have forgotten that story? So I started writing down what I hadn't written, and that's how this came.
Well, it's not only that, but I heard they all got in touch with you and said, how could you have forgotten us, right?
And some of them were really angry.
Yes, Charleston. I know Charles. He came
Yeah,
down from Mount Sinai.
no, and you
And
don't mess with a guy who's got 10 commandments under his belt.
exactly. So, uh,
But
and and where can we get the
oh,
same way
it's
we got
great.
it last time?
Yeah, it's on Amazon,
Good.
but what's exciting for me is that I've done the audio book. It's a Kindle, it's a paperback, I can come to your house, whatever you want.
You can come and read it live,
I
right?
read it to you.
We,
I'll act it out, whatever you want.
so anyway, and he is really so desperate that if you call him, he will fly in wherever
Yeah,
you are, even in the Belgian Congo. Well, it's not the Belgian Congo anymore, the
no,
Congo.
it's not.
And Julian Schlossberg will arrive in person and read you his story. No problem, right, Julian?
No problem.
No
It makes
problem.
no problem. In fact, I that's why I have to hurry up and do this show because I'm on my way to Indonesia. Okay,
All
maybe
right,
I'm gone too far, Mike.
all right, Julian. It's so good that we can talk like this and laugh, because
Yeah,
and my father always used to say in Yiddish, uh, Lachen is gesund. Laughing is healthy. The
yeah.
doctors prescribe laughter.
It's
Uh,
true.
and it is true. Who was it that, oh gosh,
No, Norman
Norman Cousins.
Cousins.
Norman
Yeah,
Cousins. Yeah.
watched Laurel and Hardy films,
In the
watched Marx.
hospital. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Well,
cured
yeah.
himself.
Yeah. Look, what's the alternative? The
That's
alternative
right.
is bad.
There's no alternative,
Yeah. Yeah. So,
because
so when are we going to do our next production? You tell me.
well, I
Are
have
you
to
ready?
figure. Here's my story.
Yeah.
I'm doing this podcast every week,
Okay.
and I'm doing two of them. And I cannot believe that after all these years since I did my radio show that you remember in New York and around the country, I'm having the time of my life because I don't have to leave my house. I don't have to travel to the studio. I don't have to face the traffic. I can sit in my house, and I've had Alan Alda and Martin Sheen and David Mamet and Twiggy, and it's just been a terrific time doing this Julian Schlossberg's movie talk. And it's the same as my radio show that I did. I did it, oh, Mike, 50 years ago. It started in 1974.
And I hear you do it in the nude.
The nude
In the nude. You sit
in
there
the nude.
in the
Oh, well,
nude.
is there another way?
Because in the radio you'd have to get dressed and go to the studio, right? But here you
Well,
just,
you didn't have to really dress, but you had to go to the studio.
yeah, right, yeah. But
Yeah.
today you don't have to get dressed at all. You can do it in your pajamas.
Yes, that's right. You can do it in your pajamas. But it's been fun, and I'm kind of excited because on the 18th of September, I don't know when our show will air here, but on the 18th of September, I've got a wonderful show with Woody Allen that I've done, and I'm quite pleased about it.
Yeah.
So, and he doesn't do shows, and we had a ball. We just had a lot of fun. And I think he's a great talent, and I'm sorry what's happened in some of the public, but most of the public doesn't go along with it. They still are supporters of him.
Well, it's interesting. I'll try to get this up as soon as I can. But when are we doing one of your podcast? We've never done one.
No, I'm going to
You
do
never,
one.
you never
We're going to
called
do
me.
one. You never call, you never
You
write.
never call. You
You
never
know,
write.
we're going to do our show, you and me, and I do another show called Tales from Hollywoodland, with two other producers, a guy named Arthur Friedman, who produced the Bobby Darin story with Kevin Spacey, and a fellow named Stephen J. Rubin, who's produced a million television films, and we'll set you up in October, really.
Yeah, no,
And
listen.
congratulations on that German show that got nominated for all kinds of awards
I
in
thought you
Germany.
I thought you'd never get to that.
No, well, it
I'm
takes some
waiting.
time. I'm warming up, Mike. I'm warming up.
This is all,
This is the bullpen. I was in the
it's all
bullpen.
about you. It's like there was a very famous Israeli actor. His name is Meir Margalit. He was very famous for playing Schweik, the good soldier Schweik. And that was his big thing. And he was famous in Israel. And one day he used to buttonhole young actors after the show, and he would talk and talk and talk about himself. And one day he buttonholed this young actor who was in awe of him, and he spoke for about half an hour, and he spoke about himself and what he did. And after half an hour, he said, "Oh, you know what? I feel so guilty. Here I am speaking about himself, myself. We haven't said anything about you. Let's talk about you. Tell me, did you ever see me in Schweig?"
Yeah,
So,
that's the old that like you said earlier, the jokes are always told. This punchline is similar, which
yeah.
is generally the whole thing. Oh, God, enough about me. What do you think of my new movie?
My
Same
father,
thing.
my father always said, may he rest in peace, there were originally only 13 jokes, original jokes. Everything since then are variations on those 13 jokes.
Yes,
It's
yes.
basically true. It's
Yeah.
basically
I,
true.
I remember working with Arthur Penn, the wonderful director, and he said, Julian, there isn't a play or a movie that can't really be done in 30 or 40 minutes.
Well,
So,
thank you. The series you mentioned today, it just came out that we first of all we won. It's a German series that I was very fortunate to be cast in and play the lead. It's called Die Zweiflers, which basically means the doubters, and it's the name of a family. It's kind of like a Jewish Successions, that's
yes,
where I play a Holocaust survivor in his 80s that came out of Auschwitz as a little boy and had nothing left, no family, nothing at all. And thanks to the GIs that liberated the camps, it's based on several characters that actually, lived this life in Germany. He was brought along with the GIs to Frankfurt, and they helped him. Initially, they had nothing, so they helped him sell on the black market silk stockings and chocolate and matches and cigarettes to the Germans. And eventually, he established over the decades a major company, a delicatessen industry, something like Zabar's all over Germany. And in 2015, when this takes place, he decides to retire and wants to give this over to his children and his grandchildren, who are basically German Jews born in Germany, and they're not interested. They are all into different modern German lifestyles, and so he decides to sell the company. And at that point, his past, I don't want to give it away, a spoiler, but his past catches up with him. It's a fascinating 6 episodes. It is streaming now in Germany, a big hit, both audience and critics. We won Best Series at the Cannes TV Festival in April. And it's now just came out today. It's been nominated for 6 German Emmys, German Television Awards. And so it's just thrilling that at this point in my career, I'm able to, and this was all in German, by the way. And so hopefully it will be sold to one of the streaming services here in the United States. And I've been directing dubbing for Netflix of all the foreign series for Netflix over the years. And hopefully, they told me if Netflix buys it, they're going to need somebody to dub the German into English. And so I said, well, I could do that. He said, yeah, but we're going to need somebody to hire an actor to do your voice.
yeah.
It reminded me of, remember, I did a tour of Jolson, the musical, years ago here in
Oh,
the
do I
States.
remember that? Yeah,
Well,
I
you came
loved
to
it.
see it. Oh, yeah.
I loved it. I came to see it, and it actually took me back to my childhood and all my Jolson records that my dad would play constantly. You were just terrific in it.
Well, thank you. But this, there's a true story about Jolson. When he was at the top of his career in the 20s and 30s, they used to do annual Jolson competitions around the country to see who did the best Jolson imitation. And he heard about it, so he said, "Why don't I, get into one of these competitions?" And since well, it was in blackface, he went and he performed at one of these Jolson competitions, and he lost. Somebody else won Best Jolson Imitation. So
Right.
maybe they'll let me do it myself. But I'm really thrilled about that. And we'll see what happens.
They didn't do a separate English track, obviously.
No, not yet. Not yet. There are English subtitles, but
No,
it's
no, of
right
course,
now,
of course.
they're still marketing it. It's been sold to Israel, to the Czech Republic. It's being sold little by little around the world. And look, next year I have a big birthday, my dear friend, and you're invited if you want to come to Israel. I will be 80 next July. And
Oh,
so,
wow. Well, you're looking great. You're
thank you.
feeling great.
Thank
And
you.
your eighth decade, take it from a guy who spent a couple of years in the eighth decade, not so bad. Not so bad.
Look, what's the alternative? Yeah.
What was saying?
What's the
what
alternative? What's the
Bus?
alternative?
The
What's the alternative?
the check. That's check, please. Oh no, we don't want that. But it's so funny, Mike. You ought to consider writing your own memoir. Really, you should.
I know.
I mean, because you've got plenty of stories.
Yeah.
You've told me some,
Yeah.
and I think people would be interested. And I'll tell you one thing: we know you'll sell well in Germany.
Look, I've been considering that over the years. My father wrote his when he was 80, his
Yes.
autobiography. So I've been delaying it. But look, I started when I was 7 years old in the Yiddish theater with my parents. And that
Yeah.
is almost 7 decades of being in show business. I mean, how many performers can you say are still active after 7 decades in show
Yeah.
business? Not too many. So
In fact,
I will,
the only two that I know that started besides yourself was Elaine May with her father's troupe, and
right,
and uh, and come on, Sidney Lumet, Sidney
right.
Lumet.
Right.
Yep,
His
yeah,
father, Baruch Lumet, was a Yiddish actor. And
yes,
Sidney started as a little boy. And also Heshy, Herschel Bernardi was also, may he
oh,
rest in peace. Heshy
yeah,
also started as a little boy. His parents were also great stars of the Yiddish theater, his family. And the other one was Stella Adler, who started with her
right,
father, Jacob P.
and
Adler.
and Luther too, I guess, right?
Luther as well, Paul
Yeah.
Muni. These were all people who started in the Yiddish theater as children on Second
Oh, I
Avenue.
didn't know that Paul Muni started as a child.
Paul Muni his name was Muni Weisenfrein. And when he was, there's a story about it. Actually, there are photos. When he was a teenager, he played a grandfather in one of the Yiddish plays. And during intermission, they would find him on roller skates in in the back of the theater with a beard, an old man roller skating. So there's a lot of history that I remember all these people. I mean, they were like uncles and aunts when I was a child. Molly
Oh, yeah.
Pecan, Molly, Menashe Skolnick, Moshe Oisher, Aaron Lebedoff. All these people were great stars, and they were like my uncles and aunts. So I will one of these days I'll finally
Well, you
sit
should.
down.
Marlon Brando was in a play before he did Streetcar Named Desire with Paul Muni,
Yes.
and he tells the story of one of the last scenes in the play. Muni has died, and he's on stage, and there's a flag over his face, and while Brando is doing his speech, Muni is pulling the flag down slowly.
So he
Oh,
can breathe.
so no, so they can see him still. He doesn't want his face covered.
He also did A Flag Is Born when Israel was created. They did
Yes,
this huge in Madison Square Garden at the
yes.
time. And it was both Muni, also Marlon Brando, Stella. They all put together this huge demonstration at Madison Square Garden. So he was very supportive of
I saw him on stage with Ed Begley in the Scopes trial play,
Inherit the
Inherit
Wind.
the Wind,
Inherit the
Inherit the Wind.
Wind. Yeah.
And it was what a thrill to be able to see him on stage, even though it was at the end of his career and the beginning of mine.
Well, the Yiddish theater brought up about many, many famous people that started. I know that at the time I was speaking here in Los Angeles with gosh, lately names are driving me crazy. Mr. Spock.
It
Okay.
it doesn't get better.
It better. Who played Spock in
Leonard Nimoy.
Leonard Nimoy. Leonard told me that as a young man here in Los Angeles, Maury Schwartz, the great Maury Schwartz, came to perform, and he needed a young actor, and he performed with Maury Schwartz. It was one of his first jobs as a professional actor. So a lot of
Yeah.
people started out in the, got their first chance as chorus boys or just walk-ins in the Yiddish theater. I will one of these days. I'll sit down and I'll write. I promise.
Here's my suggestion, because you're going to keep saying that, but
I know.
I know. Just don't think of a book, think of a chapter. Just write a story that you've been telling for years. Doesn't matter what the story is, because that's how I did it. You have dinner parties, you host them, or you go to them, you tell a story. People say, you ought to write a book. And yeah, right, okay. But you've got some stories that you know are yours. You've been telling them for years. Write the first one up. And when you do that, you're going to find that you'll want to do more, I think.
Thank
And
you.
if not, then I'm not coming to your house to read my book.
Well, I have a note here from Zoom. It says running out of time. So
How is that possible when I thought we just begun?
we just begun. Well, my dear friend, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Yes, and we'll definitely get together in October
Okay.
on that show. And
Let
so,
me know whenever you like, and I'll let you know when I put this up. And if you like,
okay,
I'll send it to you and you could put it up as well.
okay. I listen. We always want to put it up if we can. Okay.
You think we should end on that note?
I think we could. I mean, after all, it's only words.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I think.
We're
Take care, Mike.
Julian, we're allowed.
Yes,
We're
we're
allowed.
allowed. Happy holiday, Mike. We're
We've
coming up to the high holidays, so
we've earned it.
yes,
Earned it.
whether they think so or not. Bye
Thank
bye.
you, Julian. Love you.
You too.
And
Take
just
care.
stay
Best.
healthy. Stay
You
healthy.
too. You too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.